Well, la beard is growing. Um, Winter is here, and I was. It's a slight flashback. I was born in an apolitical family. Um, Politics had done so much damage that a lot of people didn't want to be involved. Uh, the politics I grew up watching and observing was mostly politics abroad, mostly the United States, the Bill Clinton administration. Um, and what I saw was um, leadership, right? Leadership at a point of insane delegation and trust, where you can trust um, people to do the right thing without having many countermeasures. Just knowing that these people are devoted. And that's when it clicked to me that US politicians outpaid, they compete, and all of that. The real ones see it as a call of duty. If you want to recognize a candidate that you want to see as your president, it should be someone that wants to serve, not someone that just wants the position. It should be someone that wants to serve, like the military, like police, and so forth, serve the country. And when I looked at local politics, this wasn't the case, right? Um, it was sort of distorted and very biased. So I remained apolitical until at a certain stage, while I did things, I started to read books. The book that impacted me the most was Dreams of My Father. Um, this book really went into the grit of a person, a person's personal journey along with people, leaders in their own respect. And that drew me to sort of try and live out that concept, right? Irrespective of the environment where I was in, where it wasn't understood like that. And this is me, when there was like, which teacher influenced you? This is me saying it. And after that, I read the other book. It was just as interesting, but that one left a mark because it spoke of pre-colonial Kenya in its full description, as well as how the narrator saw it being biologically tied to it also. But coming from a different background where things work differently, that sort of said to me like, yeah, but the political systems in place are what I don't agree with, which is where the so-called rebel activist or whatever thing comes in. And I say whatever because I don't think there is a word for it aside from wanting to stay upright, aside from not wanting to put a rotten apple within someone's basket so that the other apples will rot and they will have a hard time selling them at market. Right? So, being a person who believes in fairness, I started to realize different people see fairness differently. And the most dangerous kind of fairness is fairness of gain and not fairness of appreciation. I am one of fairness of appreciation, and most people are of fairness of gain. And then I heard the speech, and it just energized me more. And that's when I wrote what I wrote, and it just blew up, right? And I found myself being in a position of being a threat, and I found myself being in a position of being a person who can help. But I also went through a journey where it was difficult to trust people, because here um, the boundaries between the military and the state are almost interlinked, to the point that they were asking soldiers, what party do you vote for? So vote while military is supposed to be a political, and people got ranks based on that. And this is a fact, and it was disgraceful. And moving forward, to those who resisted suffered internally, because you want to serve your country, but your country wants to be your master of sorts, right? And the trials that a man I admire went through, from people who hated him based on his past and all of that, to the point where he got, is also an inspiring story, and toppled with or combined with the story of dreams of my father. It just made it that much more vital and important. Now, this isn't a fan thing. I think this is one of those things where you say what leads you where, and what leads you where, and where you want to go, and what or why would you want to go there, and how you set up safeguards, why you have to set up safeguards. And it's been a journey of learning, and I want to learn more. I'm a curious person. Being told you can't learn more is quite difficult. Politics is sort of my ground. It's something that I enjoy. Politics and law, I think they are interchangeable. Politics, law, and economics, I think those three are very vital. And politics on a broader scale is also social sciences, and this leads me to do much more research and expounds on what came before and look at what came before and what was the truth realistically. For example, if you are that person that has to make the decision, what decision would you make? And I actually went through that and asked myself those type of questions. Um, Questions like what is freedom really? And this all came from reading those books, The Audacity of Hope, Dreams of My Father, because they spoke of believing even when we shouldn't, not because the man made it to the highest office, even if it didn't. Even Dr. Ben Carson's story is inspiring. I knew about it way before he wanted to run for president. I knew about it way back, and it begs the question of what is my purpose then? This is what I'm passionate about. These are my boundaries. These are my duties. So what should I do? And I've been duty driven mostly, and disappointed a lot. Uh, the amount of energy that I put into certain things, and when I said information redistribution is free, I didn't say everybody start acting and pretending like you're me, because they ended up turning me into an actor, a fictitious person, someone who isn't living the life, someone who doesn't believe what he says, and someone who doesn't stand up for what he says. My consistency was constantly being undermined by fakes, which is why I say if someone says they are John Tipando Kavamba, then ask them for their ID. Ask them for their ID. I have had, even my own father is against it. And I understand it is apolitical, the government has done him wrong, and he sees it as a system of oppression, and he has his reasons, real life or death reasons, and but this is the direction that I want to move, and instead of power, I see influence as something that is much more vital, which is what eventually some people, by discrediting. He's a drunk, he's a drug addict, he's a womanizer, and all of those antics. Trusting the wrong people. I think these are all life lessons, but the point that I want to get to is politics, or being involved in politics. I see it as a call to duty, service. That's how I see it. I see it as trying to find the best solution, not for self gain, but mostly for gain of the majority, because the people are the ones that will lift you up. And obviously there are people that want to pull you down, the PhD syndrome. And When you try and you try and you try and you keep trying to the point where you're virtually um, exhausted, and you keep trying and using whatever mechanism you keep trying, and it becomes a habit. You don't know when to stop, or you don't stop, and you don't know what stopping means or what stopping is, because there's always something, and people feel threatened, like maybe I'm that something wrong that has to get out of the way and so forth, but that's not true. um, our systems our systems are not very efficient, and that's not very effective. If we look at our history, the men that went to form Oppo, in fact, here's the thing: the Kavango and the Avambo people went right, and they crossed the red line to go look for better life in terms of earnings by working in mines and so forth, and bringing money back to their families. The Kavangos had their own union. The Ovabo people had their own union. Their union was Oppo um, for the Ovambo people, and I'm not sure about the Kavango people. But then the Ovambo people realized, no, if we are to be successful, we should be all inclusive, which is why it was changed and turned into SWAPO. And that's how it became a people's movement to an extent. Um, a lot happened. People were terrorized in the streets. I'm talking about Kavango. Um, and a lot of people still live with this fear. I remember speaking to one lady, and she was reluctant. And then I found her at a tavern. This is when I was in the village. And she started talking. And she said, "Do you know this shirt I'm wearing? It had a political thing on it." And she said, "I hate this. The only reason I'm wearing this is so that I don't become a victim. Because I feel if I'm wearing this, that somehow I'm safe. If they think that I'm in agreement with their ways and that I have forgiven, then maybe I won't be taken out." So she was still living through past trauma, and she was drunk enough to tell me things, and she spoke of her brothers, the torture right in front. She spoke of her sisters and fathers who were lost. She spoke of the paranoia, how everybody started to suspect each other. And when you have that, when everybody is suspecting each other, don't trust each other, what do you have? You have an economy that isn't working well. But then the king stood up. The king stood up and put his foot down. And he said, "There is your crossing bridge. And if you interfere with the lives of my people, then we will also go to war. And SWAPO will not be your only problem." This sent fear into them. As a matter of fact, just listen to most retired South African SWATF and so forth. They speak of Ovahelo, Tamara, and Ovambo. Rarely do they speak about the Okavango people, albeit their second majority. I think they are first majority, but we'll figure that out when I get more data. And that is because the Okavango region was almost like the region where you are afraid. you are on the lookout constantly. My mother was in the classroom being taught by a soldier with an AK-47, holding his AK-47, teaching kids. At the hostel they stayed, sometimes they would feed them horse meat, if not horse meat, because they should be able to eat whatever. And that is when NANSO was formed. NANSO was formed to fight these practices, these unfairnesses. NANSO, the ones that formed NANSO, are the ones the APP president and his comrades. Those people formed NANSO to defend the student. Those student activists pressured the South African regime to give the newly named Namibia freedom. That story can be told in many ways, and I'm just shortening it up. But what I do learn from it is, when you say democracy, it is about capability to lead, willingness to lead, willingness to serve, and absolute devotion to the people. People in front of self. And when you don't see that, you don't feel like you live in a democracy. And that's why people complain a lot. And they have the right to complain, because most people vote out of fear. Let me give you an example. The Swapo school that's just been opened. If I was an opposition party, what would I see? The Swapo school. This is a school where youngsters will go and be taught about leadership and so forth, Swapo. But it will be a platform for them to recruit even more people to vote Swapo, keeping Swapo in power and keeping the rest silent. It is a powerful tool. I think they should not have made it party conscious. I believe it should have been about leadership, period. But it's all done now, and it's close to elections. Since it's close to elections, everybody is all of a sudden, kissing each other's feet, and it's almost 2017, suck up to the people, and this is the election for the president of the Swapo party. The way I see politics now compared to the way I saw politics then, the way I saw politics then was with pride. Pride in my country, pride in my people. I was raised by a nanny. My nanny was Shimbundu, or Angolian, a refugee. She was practically family. I mourned her death when she got ill. And she was safe. She wasn't treated any different. She wasn't treated like a refugee. She was treated like an ordinary citizen, because that border doesn't really exist for people. Like I said, it should exist for animals, because Angola does not care for cattle and so forth. They import things. right? So the way forward, the way to empower people, since they don't want to stop the red line and they are burning bushes and making grazing land and so forth in the most horrible place to actually farm. What I'm going to say is, let the nations that can feed themselves. I'm saying that from now on, I want to speak autonomy, show people what power they have and how far they can extend it. Because across the red line is the mining territory. Beyond the so-called communal areas, that is where the farming territory is in this country. And I think that's how it should have been classified, right? But it's not. So I'm not one to leave out old ideals, right? And I just have to find hopes within myself of not finding a voice, not finding a voice, but a consistent plight that becomes everybody's plight, so we can walk on it. And that is, we farm wrong. We are not annual farmers. We don't use our greatest asset, the rivers, the dams, my heritage. The Kavambas are taking back their heritage, unapologetically so. I'm not going to say I'm going to chase people off land or tell people no. I'm saying that there will be new ways of doing things, efficient ways. Where will the money come from is the question that people ask. Well, the money comes from the asset that you have. What asset do they have? Right now, there is inflation going on. So what's the smart thing to do? When you have an entire river, as well as resources that are mindful, that haven't been discovered by some because they never searched. But I know it is. Like I say, I owe a lot to my grandfather, but he saw no importance in that. But we will use the resources to change it into the money that the capitalists want, because we don't want to exhaust the money we have. That will be for infrastructure, that will be for add value. Use those minerals, get the licenses, use those minerals, make it completely local and community orientated, just like it is communal land, communal gain. Now, most people would say you're dreaming. Fine. I'm tired of listening to most people. I'm not saying most people are wrong or I can't accept talking to most people and so forth. But I've just learned that there are politicians who are supposed to be entertainers or fake motivational speakers or priests or pastors or um, businessmen. They don't belong in the profession where they are. That's why it's corrupted, because it's not a call for service for them. It's a call for salary. Very few are true politicians. So you cannot rely on the government for everything. But we can still steer. And with your help, we will do this, because we never asked for no handouts, and we never will. Neighbors of heart, this isn't just talk anymore. It's serious. Crown soldiers are doing what they should, and they are doing it due to passion, due to the need and want for a better future, and I cannot fail them. Those who believe in me, I have to give them the benefit of the doubt and also believe in them. So we just started. We're not going to fight against governments, and no, we're not going to fight. We are going to partake, because it's ours.